Replay. Replay.
Let's not take the piss here.
Replay. Replay.
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Hello and welcome to Hip Hop World Cup, the podcast that pits golden age hip hop tracks and albums against each other in a contest to find the ultimate champions. I'm your host Danny Phillips and you're listening to Hip Hop World Cup Replay, a highlight show looking back at the best matches from our first series. It's a bit like Match of the Day, if Match of the Day only showed highlights of one match that took place a few years ago. Anyway, the reason we're putting these replay episodes out is that in our first series we crammed 8 whole albums into each episode. That's a lot of discussion about hip hop. So we thought it would be a good idea to single out and revisit some of the individual battles from that first series. 1992 was a great year for hip hop. It saw many albums released that have gone on to shape the sound of hip hop in the subsequent years. 2 of those albums are about to come under the microscope. We have Ice Cube's The Predator versus Dead Serious by EFX. These two came out of the hat against each other in our 1992 episode. Me, Larry and Steve discussed it and decided who won at the end. I can't remember who won, but that doesn't matter. All you need to worry about is sitting back and enjoying this match. It's an epic tussle with some points of crossover. Obviously, EFX appeared on The Predator. So, yeah, please enjoy it. Somebody who will enjoy it very much is my guest today, who is going to be analysing the game with me. Somebody who had a great 1992 himself, winning the Euros with Denmark. It is the one and only Peter Schmeichel. Hello, Peter.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, great to have you here, Peter. Now, Peter's going to be providing analysis and insight on these 2 albums as we go along, just adding to it, adding to our thoughts. So if you want to hear that, please do hit the red button on your podcast app. You'll find it down there at the bottom somewhere. Just please hit that and you'll be able to hear the commentary. Otherwise, yeah, please just sit back and enjoy this match. Ice Cube versus EFX. Peace. So, without further ado, let's see who comes out the hat first.
Okay, first out the hat is Ice Cube, The Predator.
Okay, up against?
Okay, it's going to be EFX, Dead Serious. Interesting,
and there's a thematic link there, obviously, because EFX features on The Predator. So that's an interesting one. And what's the other semi then? Let's have the next album out the hat.
He just wants to draw them because we're paying him per ball. So it's The Far Side, Bizarre Ride 2, The Far Side, and against Dr. Dre's The Chronic.
Interesting, a West Coast derby there for the second one. Okay, cool. So without further ado, let's get into that first match. Ice Cube versus EFX. Steve, I know you're not a massive fan of Ice Cube's work, so how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I definitely know who I'm gonna go for here, but let's have a look at both albums. I think we haven't really chatted much about them. I do like the Predator album. This was his third solo album. Lots of different producers on it, which I think you two will talk more about. That's kind of your thing. And he's kind of really, as I keep saying, he's kind of typically angry on here, but I really like Dirty Mac. That's such a really fun, interesting song.
Let's just drill down into Dirty Mac for a minute, because I've got that in my notes as well. I absolutely love
it's the track of the album.
But I think it's the unsung hero of the album, because there's so many other tracks that kind of got a lot more
I can't wait till it gets to that track. It is fun.
Yeah, but it's so good. The beat, I mean, it was produced by Mr. Woody, who we mentioned earlier on. And I just think you see Cube at his most kind of observational, angry best, like just moaning about everything and anything he has a problem with, including the Guardian Angels, which I always find quite funny. Aren't they there to do good? I mean, it's like he's moaning about that. But yeah, Dirty Mac's an absolute bang. I love that track so much.
I think the best track on those Today Was a Good Day. That is like you were talking about Mount Rushmore tracks.
Yeah.
Surely that one has to be the 10 out of 10 or the 5 out of 5 on True Score.
Yeah, I never get bored of listening to that. I think the sample's just too good. It's just incredible. It's the kind of track that non-hip hop fans can get into.
Yeah, and it's one of those where everyone knows the words, which is a mark of a great song, and just a legendary tune, great sample. Yeah, Footsteps in the Dark. Just a brilliant moment on a really, really good album, I think.
It's perfect in every way, and the rapping is classic Ice Cube as well, isn't it? The content is classic gangster West Coast.
Really clever as well.
Really laid back though as well, which is kind of unusual for Ice Cube, really.
Yeah. Just a really
probably his most laid back track up until this point. I would have thought, actually.
Oh, up to this point, definitely. Like a really clever concept as well.
Yeah.
Which he sort of flips on his head right at the last minute. But yeah, love that tune.
And I really like We Had to Tear This MF Up. I just think the beats on that track just match Cube perfectly with his kind of lyrics. Really love that track as well.
Yeah. I think DJ Muggs does some great work on this album. Like he produces three tracks. Now I Got a Wetcher, We Had to Tear This MF Up, and Check Yourself. Just it's the classic Muggs sound again. That sort of lo-fi, sort of scratchy sample style, very much like his stuff on House of Pain's second album. Just a really nice funky style. I think his inclusion in this album made a lot of sense. I think it fit in quite nicely with Ice Cube's style, certainly.
See, I think for me, that's I disagree. That to me is one of the reasons that this album isn't so good as Ice Cube's previous work. I think, they're a bit, I don't know, like the Check Yourself, it's just a bit jaunty. Do you know what I mean? It's just a little bit, just that doesn't quite fit for me. I wish they just would have had the original Check Yourself, or was it the remix, the one with the message?
That was the remix. Yeah,
I love that.
I think though, this interesting this album is that it is kind of like got so many different styles. Like Wicked is kind of does that kind of like I don't know what you describe.
It's a bit of a kind of crap Public Enemy style track. I always think.
Yeah, it kind of jumps around on the tracks, and there's I think it's classic Ice Cube in what he's in his rapping, but there aren't enough good tracks to make this really great album.
Yeah, there are some brilliant tracks. I mean, like When Will They Shoot, I think is a 5 out of 5 classic.
Yeah.
Great beat, classic Cube verses, just as good as anything on his kind of first 2 albums, I think, and just shows really early promise for the album, but then kind of just starts to wane after that, really. You've got sort of tracks like I'm Scared, which is kind of quite good as far as these type of skits go, but it kind of reminds me of the sort of inserts that Public Enemy would have on their albums.
Yeah.
Sort of a bit of a Bomb Squad-y thing, just a bit pointless. And there's another one on there as well later on, like Fuck 'em. another Public Enemy alike. Never sort of never really listened to it probably because you're too keen to get onto Dirty Mac at that point. You just sort of skip forward. But
I have to say these skits, I don't skip them. They're short enough for me to listen to them, and I quite like them. There's one where there's like an interview with Ice Cube in it, and I always find that quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, it would have benefited from them not being on there, maybe.
Yeah, but it's just a bit of an unfocused album, I think. Like the first 2 albums were so good because they had a single production team doing all of the tracks, and it just sounded really coherent. And like you say, Steve, like having an album that you can listen to all the way through is just elevates an album beyond
definitely.
And it just doesn't really have it. I think actually at this point in his career, Ice Cube was still like a really big name. There was kind of no excuse for him to be making anything other than solid gold. Like classic albums, really.
Well,
don't really get it.
This really pissed me off hearing you talk about this album because, like, for me, like this, I consider this one to be part of his holy trinity of albums. America's Most, Death Certificate, and Predator. That was the classic Ice Cube era. So to me, this is still a great example of Ice Cube. It's like I think it's a sonic and thematic continuation of Death Certificate. He's still angry, he's still railing against the world. He's angry, he's incendiary. And it's the last album before he started going all soft and doing his party jams.
His rapping is still really good. Like for me, it's just it's just personal choice ultimately.
Absolutely. And it's the same for all of these
beats. I'm not the biggest like Muggs fan, and the rest of it just is I don't know, just a bit, just too many average beats. When on his previous two albums there were no average beats at all.
Obviously, I've got to completely disagree with that. I just think the beats on this album are just great from start to finish. Like they're urgent, they're funky, they're hard, exciting. Whereas it moves into Lethal Injection, there's too many kind of laid back, soft tracks, sort of G-funk, emulating songs on there. I just got lost a bit of interest around that. But here we're still in that kind of angry, upbeat, urgent Ice Cube, and the production style to match. I don't know. For me, in my head, this was always the part of the Holy Trinity of Ice Cube albums, but I guess you guys didn't always see it that way, which is
not for me. There's just too many things that it just, I don't know. The production for me personally, just a lot of it just doesn't really gel with Ice Cube in the way that kind of the Bomb Squad and Sir Jinx production do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? No. What do you think about Gangsta's Fairy Tale Part 2? I mean, for me, I loved that one.
I just think it's not a patch on the original.
No, it's
really.
not a patch on the original. But the beat to me is so simple. Like they just put, the Taste of Honey sample over the Impeach the President drums. It's so simple, but
yeah,
they make that simplicity sound really good. And I don't know, it always grabbed me. That beat is just instantly catchy.
Yeah, I just have to disagree with that, really.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, so I
think we need to talk about Das EFX.
I think we've talked enough about Ice Cube, so let's move on to Das EFX. Steve, I mean, I haven't really heard much about what you think about this album, so let's dig into it.
I feel like I'm embarrassed to say I like this album, because it's like having like a guilty pleasure. But like going back and listening to this album, I really like it. I think it's like, maybe I'm thinking of it in the kind of context of when it was produced, but I think it has aged really well. I enjoy listening to it now as much as I ever have, and I think Das EFX get a bit of maybe a raw deal, because the way they kind of sound, it is quite distinctive. Their style's been described as sewage, but and I don't think any of their kind of subsequent albums were any good, although I do own a few of them. But when you actually listen, there's actually some really impressive rapping. It's quite creative how they rap. And I actually found something the other day that kind of measured how much language a rapper has, and I thought I'd just have a little look at it, because I thought Das EFX would be way down, because they just kind of like go diggity all the time. Actually, they're really high up, so they actually have a really good vocabulary. I was like, wow.
Really? That's interesting.
That's the misconception about Das EFX. It was that all they did was go Iggity, and they in every sentence they did it. But the actual content of their lyrics was really quite clever. Like the pop culture references they shoved into every single verse, and the way they sort of they talk about different topics and stuff. I do think it's a bit of a misconception that they were only sort of Iggity rappers.
Yeah, they were more than that. I think I like the production. I mean, you two may disagree, but and again, I'll go back to like the great and the good tracks. I think I love Mic Checker, I love Just Some Men, I love They Want FX, and I love Clap Your Hands. Clap Your Hands is I just love turning that up whenever it's on. And then there probably aren't any tracks that I would skip, but I like Lucy's, I like Dum Dums, East Coast. Eric Sermon's really funky on Brooklyn to T-Neck and Straight Out the Sewer. There's so much to enjoy on this album. I'm going to keep going back and listen to this one for longer than I will The Predator. That's for certain.
Right. I mean, it's quite a tight 10 tracks, isn't it? It's quite, it doesn't outstay its welcome.
Yeah.
And there's enough energy and sort of good lyricism all the way through. It's just a nice, enjoyable, tight listen. Yeah. And they are, I mean, as I said earlier on, they are massively influential. It felt like every other rapper was doing that Iggity thing for ages after they first came out.
It was really, really original. You don't get many rappers. None of the rappers that I can think of really that came along and just had a completely new style that was, you would really stick out like a sore thumb if you tried to copy it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And they really nailed it. They had a real novelty, and they played on that, and which made them blow up. And and then they were copied afterwards by quite a few other rappers who were doing it as well.
Yeah.
And did you do any tracks highly from on your spreadsheet?
Only Mic Checker. which I think is a classic, like brilliant production, really kind of sets out kind of, what to expect from the album in terms of their style. And if that quality was maintained across the whole album, I think it would be a proper classic. Like, I think despite the fact that they are kind of, it is slightly kind of gimmicky this way they rap, but with better music, I wouldn't have minded it so much. I think, I don't know, the music's just all a bit kind of much of a muchness, really. Just, apart from Mike Checker, and they want effects is good. And my kind of personal favourite is If Only. I love the sample on that. Like, you've got that really nice piano and the kind of sax or strings, I think it is, on the hook. But some of the other tracks, like Dum Dums, is just kind of really, I hate the hook. It's really sort of leaden production. It feels like it goes on forever. Others kind of little, not like Just Cements, a bit annoying. Got a bit of an annoying hook, a bit of a weak main loop. Just, I know, Brooklyn to T-Neck, like how many times are you going to use like the UFO sample on one album? It's getting a bit much by this point. I don't know. It's kind of, it's all right. I think if you look at other, I think kind of these kind of samples have been used better elsewhere, probably by the same producers as well, really.
Yeah, Sermon probably. But I definitely agree with what you're saying, Larry. It just, for me though, just feels like a guilty pleasure. That just there's something about it.
I've got good memories of the album. I always kind of assumed that I liked it a bit more than I kind of do, having kind of reevaluated it. But I just think there wouldn't be that much to recommend it apart from like Mike Checker and a couple of other tracks, really.
Yeah, I have to say, like, Mike Checker and They Want Effects are the two reasons I bought this album. I can't even begin to tell you how much I loved those two back in the day, and that's why I wanted this album so badly. Nothing on there is up to the same level as that, but I don't ever remember being disappointed largely by the rest of the album. Those two tracks are just in my Mount Rushmore of hip hop. I guess some of the tracks, that they're a bit sort of derivative and a bit kind of, you've heard those samples before, but I just always enjoyed this album a lot, and I think that's what ultimately made it earn its way into the semis for me. But all right then. So should we vote on this one? So what are you going for, Steve?
Well, obviously, I really enjoy listening to Dead Serious, but Predator is also a really decent album. I think just on the balance of what I find the most enjoyable and what I would probably go back and listen to tonight if I had the choice, I'm going to be really controversial and go for Dead Serious. Oh,
interesting. Okay. Larry, what are you going for? I think I know.
Predator for me.
Clive. Yeah. I think I as much as I love Dead Serious, I think I can't see past the Predator on this one. I think it's a definite vote for that one for me. So there we have it. That's it. I hope you enjoyed that epic battle. Let us know what you think on X, Instagram, Threads and Blue Sky. Just search at Hip Hop World Cup. Give us a follow and let us know you're listening. Also, please subscribe and leave us nice 5-star reviews on Spotify, Apple or your podcast platform of choice. We also have a YouTube channel, so please check us out on there. But that's it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you for our next replay. Peace.
Good looking boy.